Police is seeking a bench warrant for the arrest of former sports minister under the Eswal Mahama administration, Mustafa Ahmed, after failing to respond to police invitation for allegedly terrorizing and threatening the life of a resident of East Airport over a dispute. Confirming the story to join his district commander of Airport Police, Superintendent Leonard Abaka, says the former MP for Ayawaso East also reportedly used land guards to pull down the fence wall of the house of one Eugene Fessy here in Accra. Joy News' Matilda Wembega has more on the following report.
The case is a dispute over a plot of land involving the former sports minister and a resident of East Airport in Accra. Information gathered by Joy News indicates that it's been more than 5 years of alleged torture and abuse of power in the hands of land guards employed by Dr. Mustafa Ahmed after one plot's land was bought from him by a resident. Even though documentation on the land in question has been completed and handed over to the buyer, he has not been able to fully develop it due to an outstanding contention over the size of the plot. According to the police, the former sports minister, Dr. Mustafa Ahmed, last week Friday organized a group of land guards who broke down the fence being erected by the new owner, Eugene Fessy.
I started fencing the place and then he was using land guards to stop me, telling me that after paying him. I paid him because I wanted to move in here immediately. So I paid him just so that we can stop the argument going on between the two of us. Now, after I paid him, I want to ward the place. He said he won't allow me to ward the full land and that I should ward only half of the land. I said, how? And ever since I tried to make a move on that land, he fights me back. Anytime. So in fact,
does he give you reason for fighting you back? Is it that you've not paid the money?
He's telling me that place is a road. I have gone to check from Lakeman and all the other places. Even the master plan, I have a copy of the master plan here. There's no road here. The initial arrangement is I want to add this land to his land because his land, his building is in a way.
So when did he break down this fence, or which is currently being investigated?
I was in the office on Friday around 5 p.m. and I had a call. I had 4 calls that Mustafa is here with a bulldozer dropping down my walls. So immediately I called the police, I called the other people, and I also started rushing down here.
So now what exactly do you want to be done to this former minister?
I want to get this minister arrested. I want to be the first person to arrest this minister. The reason is that he has used politics, he has infringed on people's rights just to gain land. And this is the time I think I should not give him the chance because he has stood on my happiness for too long.
The police says attempts to reach the former sports minister has been unsuccessful. District Commander of the Airport Police shares with Joy News how they intend to handle the case.
Made efforts to invite the suspect, alleged suspect, for him to answer or give us his part of the story. But till now, we've been to his house twice. We've not been able to get him. He's the former MP for Ayawaso, so Mustafa Ahmed. You know, we police don't deal with land litigation. What we deal in is criminal. And the criminal aspect of the whole thing is that a damage has been caused to somebody's property. After that, you've gone there with macho men to threaten him. Well, that is the allegation the complainant is making. So we need him to answer to those allegations. I'm not ready to disclose now because investigation is premature. So if I release my next step, it might be an arm for the suspect. So the next step will be kept by us, but we'll definitely ensure that we get him to answer to the allegation.
Meanwhile, attempts to reach the former sports minister for his side of the story has been unsuccessful.
Elsewhere, police at Bachona are on a manhunt for about 10 gunmen who set ablaze the auditorium of Believers' House of Worship at Gono, a suburb of Accra, on Monday afternoon. 500 chairs, musical instruments and other properties were burned in the attack. Journalist Latif Idris visited the area and reports assailants are claiming the land on which the church is built is actually theirs.
On the ruined pulpit of the Believers House of Worship International Church at Opegono in the Lekma constituency, where earlier today at around 1 p.m. Monday, we had thugs numbering over 10 who stormed this church premises, terrorized the foreman and his workers away, later on stormed the main auditorium of the church, poured petrol in and set the whole place ablaze. In the background, properties worth thousands of Ghana cedis have all been burnt. Now, the owner of the church and the leader, I must say, has been speaking to us. Did you see this coming?
Yes and no, because 3 months ago, by then we had our materials in the stall. The same guys came and wielding guns, and then they poured petrol on all the materials. They burnt everything and sped off, only for them to come today again, more than the number that came the former time, more of them wielding guns than the number that we did the last time, and this time pursuing the foreman.
Do you have genuine documentation over this piece of land?
You know how the process goes, and if you're gonna wait, then you will keep staying outside. So it's still being worked on whilst we're working, and since we've not gotten any injunction from the courts, then it means work can go on.
A church member who is heartbroken also gave us his own account of the incident.
I'm broken. Seriously, I can't hold myself. Seriously, and some things are better. I mean, it's okay if you don't.
Yeah. But earlier we spoke with the foreman who gave a first-hand account of exactly what happened here Monday afternoon.
Around 1 p.m. And we saw some gunmen with NPP branded pickup with car registration number JT 5069-16. They were in NPP branded smoke. So immediately they got out of the car. They pointed at me, "You come here. You are the foreman, come here. You are very stubborn, come here." I said, "Why? Come here for what?" But they have been here before. I think about 2-3 months ago, they came to burn our storeroom. So when I saw them, that it is the same people, I had to flee from my life because the guy began to pull a gun from him, threatening me that I should come. So I had no option than to run for my life. So I meandered myself through the bamboos and managed myself out. They were chasing me up with a gun.
But they didn't pull the trigger.
They didn't pull the trigger. They were with a gun on me that I should come, and I began to run. So when they couldn't catch me, in fact, I had my way out. When they couldn't catch me, they brought petrol in what we call Kufo gallon, the 18-liter, full of petrol. They entered into the auditorium, poured it around, and lighted the place on fire.
Do you know why they did that? Do you know the motive behind it?
Yes, the other time they came, they mentioned one Madame Dorothy's name, that she is the one who sent them, that she possessed the land, and we don't have any right to build on the land. Okay. So they couldn't give us even the brief to say anything. They began to scatter things around, and they beat us up, if I would say so. The other time they came, the last time, 2 months they came, they beat us up, took our phones, took our machineries, the tools, my boys, their bags containing their personal items, took everything away.
How many men are we looking at?
Yeah, the other time they came, they were 8 in number, but this time around they are not less than 10.
The police are, however, carrying out their investigations and are not willing to speak to the matter as at now. They've promised, however, that they will bring logical conclusion to this attack and the perpetrators will be brought to book.
We're taking a break on Joy News Prime, but still ahead, more revelations about the unfolding $72 million Senate ICT infrastructure contract as the Economic and Organized Crime Office interdicts the head of the unit that supervised the implementation of the project for presenting fake certificates to obtain the top job. Stay tuned, we have that and more coming up in the bulletin. Welcome back to Joy News Prime. The minority in Parliament is calling for the resignation of their colleague MP for Akimodan and Deputy Agric Minister William Petu for comment he made about the people of the northern region, it says is disparaging. The group says William Kweto demonstrated ingratitude to the people of the North by suggesting that they are, quote, a difficult people. Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu said Mr. Kweto's comments amount to subjecting the people of the North to such profound level of insults, ridicule and indignity. Now, their statement actually reads, our attention has also been drawn to a statement purported to have been issued by the Deputy Minister apologizing for this sordid act. We think that this is grossly inadequate, insincere, hypocritical, an afterthought, and therefore not deep enough to assuage the profound pain and huge damage done to the good image, integrity, and respect of the people of the three regions of the North. We accordingly call on our colleagues on the other side to join us in unconditionally and unreservedly condemning this crass ethnic bigotry exhibited by Honorable Kweto. Additionally, we urge all decent-minded Ghanaians who cherish the unity, peace, order, stability and progress of our nation to join us, demand the immediate resignation of Honorable Kweto as Deputy Minister of State and Member of Parliament. Should he fail to quit these offices voluntarily, and now we call on the President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo to fire him immediately as a mark of his revulsion against this unprovoked and reckless ethnocentric bigotry against the entire people of the three regions of the North. And this statement from the minority is signed by the Minority Leader, Honorable Haruna Idrisu. Now, President Nana Akufo-Addo has been under pressure from youth groups in the North, notably the Democratic Youth Alliance, to sack the Deputy Minister for making such thoughtless comments. But the campaign manager of the New Patriotic Party during the 2016 election, Peter McMahon, says calls for the Deputy Great Minister to be sacked, they are far-fetched. Speaking to Joy News, Latif, during the just-ended National Delegates Conference of the New Patriotic Party, which happened in Cape Coast, Mr. McMahon says an apology from the Deputy Minister should suffice.
It's a very unfortunate comment.
So
that's a very unfortunate comment.
And how is the party handling it?
Well, we just heard it, and we will handle it at party level. So this is a conference level, the highest authority. It is not the highest authority that takes that decision. So we will look at it. If he has to apologize, if he has to be reprimanded, an action will be taken.
Would you say would apology be enough?
Well, he lives in North. He speaks Dagbani. He knows them. He knows what will satisfy them. Okay? And we will consult the rank and file of the party, the leadership of the party in the Northern region, the National Executive, and the decision.
There are already calls that he should be sacked by the president.
Oh, I think that's too far. I would say that's too far. I mean, there are various sanctions that could be that could be suspension, apology, etc. What is important is for him to acknowledge whether or not indeed he has offended them. That's the most important thing. That is really the most important thing. So let's wait.
Now, the Economic and Organized Crimes Office, YOCO, has interdicted head of SNIT's Management Information Systems for presenting fake degrees for the top job. It was found out that the top official, who is known as Dr. Caleb Afaglo, did not in fact have a doctorate, as he's always claimed. According to YOCO, he did not even have a master's or first degree. The interdiction comes at the time there's public disaffection for the trust following the revelation that it spent $72 million on IT infrastructure between 2012 and 2016 that is still not functioning properly. The contract awarded in 2012 was to automate key tasks at the trust so it could function more efficiently. YOCO uncovered the fraud during investigations into Dr. Afaglo's involvement in the project. Joy News sources at YOCO say Dr. Afaglo was elected as the general manager of the MIS unit because of his, quote, impeccable, unquote, credentials. He was employed in 2015 after phases 1 and 2 of the Operational Business Suite OBS had been implemented. Prior to his appointment at SNIT, Dr. Afaglo had worked as IT consultant for the Trust, National Pensions Regulatory Authority, NPRA, Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, and at MTN Ghana and Action Chapel International as a data services supervising engineer. He had also served as head of IT department at Simnet Ghana and Dominion University. He was also a consultant at Glyco Insurance. The anti-graft agency said Afaglo was allegedly sacked in 3 of the organizations where he worked for presenting fake certificates. Sources say the authorities at the Dominion University found out about the fake documents after they applied for accreditation from the National Accreditation Board. Now, we have made efforts to try to reach Dr. Afaglo, but we have been unsuccessful. He initially agreed to speak with us, but eventually told us that he would not want to comment on the issue. Now, plans to establish a clay factory as part of government's One District, One Factory initiative are underway in the Bongo district of the Upper East region. The factory, when established, will supply clay and bricks expected to boost the financial fortunes of the district. Bongo District Chief Executive Peter Ayamga Ayimbisa made this revelation at a town hall meeting at Bongo. Upper East correspondent reports.
The town hall meeting was organized by the Bongo District Assembly to create a platform for various stakeholders to engage government through the District Assembly. Addressing the gathering, Bongo District Chief Executive Peter Ayamga Ayimbisa revealed that government is exploring some clay deposits in the district which could feed a clay factory to be established in the area under government's One District, One Factory policy.
We also have some collaboration with SADA and UDS in recent past, and this led to a major exploration surveys conducted into clay deposits in Bongo area. We are now awaiting a legal procurement document from SADA to create opportunity for a joint venture, whilst we are also preparing to legally secure possession of the land. You know that in establishing a factory, one of the things you need to consider is nearness to source of raw material. The deposit in Bongo alone can supply the factory for over 42 years.
On government's One Constituency $1 million initiative, Mr. Ayimbisa said the assembly plans to use the funds to construct dams to boost agriculture in the Bongo district.
Under agriculture, we shall apply some of the funds into the construction of new dams, as well as undertake dredging and rehabilitation of some existing dams in some areas like Bongo Dam, Dadabaya Dam, Cabre Dam, Abulugo Dam, Dua Dam, Apatanga Dam, Bungo Dam, and Apuongo Dam.
Upper East Regional Minister Roxanne Ayini Bukari charged political leaders to remain accountable to citizens.
Just as we, the government, expect the governor or leadership to deliver on some mandates, the leadership also expects us to honor our duties and responsibilities to the state. Whilst we expect our assembly to provide us with boreholes and classrooms and other amenities, it behoves on us to also ensure that we honor our tax obligations and maintain the facilities provided so that their lifespan can be prolonged.
Some citizens of the Bongo district also seized the opportunity to raise concerns about various issues in the district.
Watching Joy News Prime, we're taking a break, but still ahead. Joy News investigations reveal a contract awarded by government for the supply of waste bins and liners could be inflated by as much as 130 million cedis. We have the details coming up. But next, we'll bring you the business news.
Hello everyone, welcome to Business on Joy News Prime. Now, the Ghana Free Zones Board is embarking on an initiative to woo local investors as it celebrates its first investment week. The board has extended invitation to local businesses to take advantage of government's One District, One Factory initiative, as well as enjoy the stimulus package being offered to establish export-oriented industries in the various free zone enclaves in the country. Ebenezer Sabute's report.
Information by the Free Zones Board indicated that out of the 201 licensed free zones companies, 56 representing 28% are wholly owned indigenous companies since its establishment. The board says Ghanaian companies already operating in the enclave but are financially depressed have an opportunity to access government stimulus package. It is also prevailing on other local industries to take advantage of government One District One Factory initiative to establish in the free zones enclaves in the country. Michael Otribefi is Executive Secretary of the Ghana Free Zones Board.
We want to embrace as many companies as possible, and so now we're going to even start a preparation towards getting a lot of companies to be part of the arrangement.
What of those existing ones who are not doing so much? They are not doing well due to one or two issues. Power
the companies issues. Yes, you know, we encourage them. We are trying. I mean, the government has brought what we call the stimulus package to take care of businesses in crisis.
Do they also have opportunity to?
Yes, any company in Ghana. If it's an indigenous company, I mean, you can also be part of it. What we are doing is that we are looking at the concept in totality, the free zones concept totality. Everybody who wants to be part of the free zones is welcome, provided you are prepared to be part of what and be part of what we want to do and be compliant.
The Executive Secretary spoke with Joy Business at the sidelines of the launch of the board's first ever investment week. As part of the celebration, the board will be hosting local business organizations, including the Association of Ghana Industries AGI, among other individual investors on Tuesday, August 29th, towards implementing their new strategy.
These are people we believe have excess funds to invest, and most of them don't understand the free zones program or concept. This is a specialized concept. Let them know what the free zone stands for, what is our mandate, what they need to do to be part of the free zones, and we just want to tell them. So it is a very simple and a short ceremony or meeting for us to introduce the free zones concept to them, and we believe that when they even accept the concept and they want to do business and they don't even know the right business to do, we can recommend a business to them because we are poised to help local investors to be part of the program.
The Investment Week celebration is part of strategies of the new management to provoke interest among Ghanaians.
Now, the Intergovernmental Action Group Against Money Laundering in West Africa has challenged government to tackle economic crimes in the country. This is because the group has identified money laundering as impacting negatively on the economy. Speaking to Joy Business at a joint regional forum dubbed Gender and Youth Dimensions of Financial and Cross-Border Criminality in West Africa, Deputy Director General of the group, Brian Ankusabati, said although Ghana is on track in dealing with economic crimes, there's more room for improvement. Sheila Tamaklo was there for Joy Business.
The three-day workshop by the Intergovernmental Action Group Against Money Laundering in West Africa is aimed at combating financial and cross-border criminality in the sub-region. Brian Ankusapati is the Deputy Director General of the group.
Ghana has done quite well, I mean, in terms of what they are trying to do to fight, money laundering and other related crimes. But there is still more to do. There are some laws I can't give you offhand which are yet to be passed by Parliament, to again make sure that we strengthen the system. But law per se is not the issue. You pass the law, the next thing is that it must be implemented. The implementation is very, very important.
On his part, head of research at the Gender Development Center of the ECOWAS added that fighting illicit crime would require joint efforts by private sector and other groups.
Economic and financial crimes, particularly money laundering, involves, circulation of money, conversion of dirty money to clean money, and it affects business in a very significant way. So the private sector has a stake, a very key stake in the effects of organized transnational economic crimes. And the youth are also significant part because when you come to cybercrime, for instance, the youth are very much involved in that. We also have the problem of unemployment. There's high unemployment among the youth, and these are idle hands, and so the youth have become vulnerable and have become susceptible to being targeted by criminals, people who want to engage in transnational crime, and so they also are very strong stakeholders. They also have a role to play in addressing this issue.
The mission of the Intergovernmental Action Group Against Money Laundering under the ECOWAS is to promote concerted action against money laundering and financing of terrorism in the Western region.
In other business news, head of brokerage at Databank, Alex Boahin, has kicked against any attempt to remove the 5 companies suspended by the Ghana Stock Exchange from the market. The 5 firms, African Champion, Clydestin, Golden Web, Pioneer Kitchenware, and Transaction Solutions Limited, were last Friday suspended by the stock exchange. According to the managers, these firms have failed to meet listing obligations like holding AGMs, publishing financial results, and payment of listing fees. After several warnings, they have up to September 8 to comply or risk being removed. But Mr. Boahin does not think removing these firms would be the right move to take.
Delisting is an option, but I think it is not the best option, in particular because if you look at our market is quite small. We have very few stocks that are listed, just about 40 stocks. And the stock exchange's posture should be to actually encourage more listing rather than delist companies that are already on the burs. What I will say is that for us to be prudent for this company to look at themselves again and probably repackage themselves and then migrate them into the GACs. I think that will be a very viable option for them at this moment. Because when these companies were listed, the GACs was not in existence. And now that we have the GACs, I think most of these companies could be a good candidate for the GACs. Because, I mean, if you look at the exchange, the main market, the listing obligation or continual listing obligation is quite stringent. For instance, you must meet a certain reporting standard. Your report, your accounting financial statement must be reported on quarterly basis, and you should hold an AGM and all that. But I think that on the GACs, the rules are a bit relaxed, and that will be suitable for these companies. And later, when they actually become matured, they can then be migrated onto the main market. So I think that delisting is an option, but it is not the best option in our view, especially when we are trying to encourage more domestic companies to list on the stock exchange.
Well, Mr. Boahin in that interview also downplayed any negative impact of the suspension of these firms on the stock market. Moving on now, and some commercial banks have started engaging in serious merger talks ahead of the implementation of new capital levels for banks. These engagements, Joy Business understands, have intensified following news that banks could be given 1 year to meet the new minimum capital requirements. So what options are available to these commercial banks when it comes to raising capital? Economist Professor Godfrey Bokpin shares some perspective.
Certainly, they will call on shareholders. I mean, existing shareholders may be asked to bring up more capital. If that won't do, they might want to also open it up to some fresh shareholders who would want to bring the capital and all of that. So there are different options that they can explore, I mean, whether from strategic investors' point of view and all of that. But I think that with this development, some of the banks should be able to take advantage and list on the Ghana Stock Exchange and raise funds from the public. In that way, it would also be quite good. And because more often than not, when we talk about strategic investors, we are looking at some investors from outside the country. But it could also be a good avenue to build local ownership in the banking industry in terms of some of them offloading shares on the Ghana Stock Exchange in exchange for capital. But now the banks do know what is expected of them. If they cannot, they should be able to table a position that says that we need more grace period, or something, but we haven't seen that yet. And the indications, and also from the fundamentals, and the fact that, of course, if you want to raise a certain amount of money, the fact that you can't get it from your existing shareholder doesn't mean you should fold up. Okay, you can open up to other investors who will be willing to bring the capital in exchange for part ownership position in the bank.
And that's your business update. More news after this break.
Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now, Joy News has unraveled what could be a massive inflation of a contract awarded by the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development for the supply of 1 million waste bins and disposal bin liners. Our investigations indicate the bins and liners are estimated at 318 million cedis in the contract, 130 million cedis more if the same items were to be purchased on the open market. Joy News has also discovered that all the 5 companies handpicked by the ministry to supply the waste bins are subsidiaries of the Jospon Group of companies. In the first of our comprehensive investigative series titled Robbing the Assemblies, Manasseh Zuriawuni finds the Office of the President, the Local Government Ministry and the Jospon Group may be complicit in the questionable waste bins contract.
In November 2016, the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development awarded a contract to 5 companies to supply 1 million waste bins and 900,000 bin liners at a cost of $74,040,000 US, or 318 million Ghana cedis. The cost of the 1 million waste bins is $60 million US, while the cost of the bin liners is $14,040,000 US. These amounts do not include value-added tax. The contract was awarded through sole sourcing with approval from the Public Procurement Authority. A letter written by then Sector Minister Collins Dowda to the PPA cited urgency as the justification for using the single-source procurement method, saying the waste bins were urgently needed because it was approaching the rainy season and there was the possibility of cholera outbreak. This letter was dated 27th October 2016, when the nation typically is expected to be experiencing dry season. Nevertheless, the PPA approved the sole sourcing method and the contract was awarded to 5 companies, namely Universal Plastic Products and Recycling Company Limited, Yeco Plastics Ghana Limited, and JSA Logistics Limited. The rest are Able Plastic Recycling Limited and Meridian Waste Management Services Limited. Joy News investigation has revealed that all 5 companies are subsidiaries of the Jospon Group, owned by Joseph Siao Ejapon of Zoom Lion. The president of the Ghana Institute of Procurement and Supply, Colin Sapon, is questioning the procurement method used.
Once you've identified more people within the market, why the use of single source? It might not be wrong, but there's another method which we call restricted tendering. So that, okay, because it is a specialized area and you know that these 6 companies or 8 companies are within the industry, you can do restricted tendering, and even that one too, you go for approval from Public Procurement Authority.
At the 10th anniversary of Zoom Lion last year, Joseph Siao Ejapon announced the company would distribute waste bins to Ghanaians in 2017.
We were the first company to distribute free bins to households, and currently we have distributed over 200,000. Our vision is to distribute 1 million free bins in the year 2017 to all households.
But it appears the cost was going to be borne by the state and not an act of kindness by Joseph Siao Ejapon, as his speech suggested. Joy News investigation has revealed that the cost of the contract may have been inflated. The cost of a 240-litre waste bin, as advertised by the leading producers of waste bin in Ghana, which are also suppliers of waste bin to the local government ministry, is 135 Ghana cedis. A pro forma invoice I secured from the Jospon Group quoted the cost per bin as 150 Ghana cedis. A similar contract awarded by the local government ministry for the supply of waste bin and cited by Joy News charged 15 Ghana cedis for the cost of transportation per waste bin. Even if the cost of transportation for each waste bin for the Jospon Group is increased from 15 cedis to 20 cedis, the cost per waste bin should be 170 cedis. But the contract with the Jospon Group quotes $60 per waste bin, or 258 cedis, with the exchange rate of $1 to 4.3 cedis at the time of the contract. This is about 88 million Ghana cedis, higher than the actual estimated cost. This cost inflation could be higher if the estimates are made with the cost advertised by other waste bin suppliers used by the ministry. Also, a pack of disposable bin liners from a subsidiary of the Jospon Group cost 15.8 cedis, or $3.6. This means the 900,000 bin liners will cost $3.3 million, but the contract cost $14,040,000, a difference of about $10.7 million or 46.1 million Ghana cedis. Together with the waste bins, this contract appears to have been inflated by over 134 million Ghana cedis, or $31.1 million. Joy News investigation has revealed that the ministry was instructed by the Office of the President to procure the 1 million waste bins for household distribution across the country. In a letter dated September 15, 2016, then Chief of Staff Julius Debra directed the minister to take steps to procure an initial 1 million litre bins for household distribution. The Ministry of Local Government, as well as the minister in charge at the time of the contract, Collins Dowda, have declined to comment on the matter. The Jospon Group of companies has also declined to comment on the contract. The former Chief of Staff, Julius Debra, who signed the letter initiating the contract, has also declined to speak on the matter. But further investigation by Joy News reveals there is something about this contract that is as equally scandalous as the inflation of the contract sum. For Joy News, Manasseh Azore Arene reporting.
You're watching Joy News Prime. Now on to, well, there's a related development to the story. The president of the Ghana Institute of Procurement and Supply, Colin Sapong, says the procurement of waste bins and bin liners by the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development did not qualify for sole sourcing. He says the items did not meet conditions of materials to be acquired under a certificate of urgency. He has been speaking with Evan Spencer on Newsnight on Joy FM.
It's clear when to use single source or sole source procedure. If the item involved can be found from only one source or only one supplier in the market, or under certificate of emergency, you can also apply sole source or single source, in that maybe looking at the time that you need the item to solve the problem. So if the bins are available with a number of suppliers within the market and the item needed is not under certificate of emergency, then you need to use the default method, that's national competitive tendering. Again, even if you have limited number of suppliers within the market, and that you are aware that, okay, only 6, only 8 that deal in this item, then you need to use the restricted tendering, where you also apply to the Public Procurement Authority for their approval.
Mr. Sabo, so I guess for many uneducated like myself on procurement, the simple answer I want to get is, does this particular contract qualify under the sole source agreement?
Technically, when I read the story, it's like they mentioned that it was under certificate of emergency. But here, if you look at the time that the letter was written, I think October, we know the rainy season and the dry season in Ghana. If October, it is rainy season, and we need them as early as possible, then they can pass for the single source or the sole source that we are talking about. But if in October there's no rainy season, and therefore maybe the item, we can go through the process within and get the items supplied to the various destinations. Then I think that we should have used national competitive tendering, or more or less restricted tendering, but not single source. And here I understand that the job was given to 5 companies. So if 5 companies can deliver, why single source are not restricted tendering? So that is the question. I believe that once we have 5 people supplying, then we should have the restricted tendering, but not single source.
Now stay tuned to join us as we bring you more on this comprehensive investigative series on how the nation loses hundreds of millions of cedis through questionable sanitation contracts with the Assembly. So there's certainly more to this than just waste bin contracts. You just have to stay tuned. This is a comprehensive work that was done by Manasseh Zuri, Awini and team. Now, after coming under intense pressure, particularly on social media, to state its position on SNIT's $72 million 40 software deal, at least one member of the minority has commented on the matter. The opposition lawmaker has called for a swift probe into the issue to uncover all the people behind the controversial contract. Minority member on Parliament's Legal and Constitutional Committee, Roxing Lafiamakpo, said he wants the law to deal with anyone who played a role in the deal.
It appears different views are being posited on the matter. That is why we are saying that in the minority, it's not as if the minority will defend everything. No. We are saying that the government has the right to review or to investigate the deal if they suspect any wrongdoing. And anybody who is found culpable in the matter, the law is normal course.
And let me ask you also, still staying with this legal opinion, you see in the opinion by Orleans Lindsay stating that the OBS manager who was making the request for the software supplier to be the payment to be backdated to them, he himself was making this request when there had been no formal request from the supplier itself. The supplier itself had not submitted a formal request saying, but please pay me from 2014. And yet, the OBS manager was fighting on their behalf. And he found that very curious.
Indeed. That is what makes it very interesting. And why would I be advocating for a position for a party to agreement when the party has not made any formal request in that regard? Do you understand?
I do.
I agree that the sanctity of contracts must be respected. Pacta sunt bank. But where it appears that at every stage there are two negotiations taking place in respect of the contract, why would I be making requests that in effect will occasion an economic loss to the state?
And this economic loss is a very significant one. You saw the figures there, $2 million a year. If you backdate it, you're paying them $2 million more than they actually deserve because they've only worked for 9 months.
Exactly the position of the lawyer and my position as well. Indeed, if they had agreed with the lawyer's position and it only $2 million, in any case, my further question is, why should we be paying $2 million when the contract has been signed for so much?
On September 13, government's flagship free senior high school policy will be launched. And then in the ensuing weeks, the many questions concerning implementation and the capacity of government to cover the cost of education for hundreds of thousands of students should be answered. The Akufo-Addo administration is making the rollout of the policy such a big deal. The initiative has its own brand ambassador in the person of young Ghanaian actor Abraham Atta. Joy News' learning President Akufo-Addo will also be unveiling the Free SHS logo this Thursday at the Flagstaff House. Joy News' Daniel Daze visited the Free SHS Secretariat at the Ministry of Education to find out what else to expect with the implementation of the initiative.
The results of over 300,000 candidates in the just-ended basic education certificate examination have been released. The biggest question on the minds of each and every one of these candidates will be, am I eligible to take part in the free SHS program? Today we have come to the offices of the persons in charge of making sure that each and every one of these candidates gets what the government has promised them. We will be finding out the details of this program and be finding out what exactly these students have to do from now.
The Free SHS Secretariat, as the name implies, was specially set up to oversee the implementation of government's flagship policy. As part of its activities, it will also be ensuring that all the logistical needs that will arise in the various senior high schools as a result of the implementation of the project will be addressed.
We are ready to go. As you know, the WAEC has released the BEC scores. At this particular time, we are in the process of doing placements of the students. And that's when the placement is over. Enrollment will happen. The money, as we say, the funds are ready. We have the process in place to wire the funds to each school as its demands. So the whole program is doing well. Now, when the students have been placed, that's what the president needs to go through is the schools will now begin the enrollment of the students. If you look at the eligibility criteria, we don't pay just because we place you in the school. We pay because, first of all, you are a Ghanaian, right? We pay because you are in a CS, you've been placed by CSSPS. And finally, we pay because you have enrolled in the school. So the fact that we place there doesn't mean that you are entitled to a scholarship, right? You have to enroll. So the enrollment process will begin, right? And if there are anybody left out in the first phase of the placement that comes out, there'll be other iterations. When we say it's free, it's free. And there's not a single item that the average students will be paying. The one-time payment covers all the admission fees.
Mr. Dakwa also mentioned, since the program is being started for the first time next month, some unforeseen challenges will definitely come. As a result, information we are picking from some staff members indicates that the heads of the between 650 and 680 schools who will be dealing with the Secretariat are currently being trained on receiving logistics and funds and general dealings with the Secretariat. Of course, it remains to be seen how the actual rollout of the program will be. For Joy News, I'm Daniel Daze, reporting from the Free SHS Secretariat in the Ministry of Education.
Now, is reading really alien to Africans? At least that is what some people think. Parents have therefore been advised to encourage children to read. The story is, however, different for some children in Accra Central who turn the public library into their place of abode each vacation. Despite inadequate books and lack of a functional children's ICT lab, the children simply love their books. Joining us is Joseph Akable spent some time at the library and our report.
Not much noise can be heard on arrival at the children's section of the Accra Library. Children sit close to each other in groups and keep their eyes on their books. The library, which is about a quarter of a football pitch, has different books on its shelves. From novels to biographies, children have a lot to pick from. So first we can see the decks available at this side where these children seem to be enjoying their reading and learning. So table and chair, lots of books for them to study as well. But there's another section that caught my attention just when I was coming in. And that has to do with what it was supposed to seem like it's supposed to be an IT section. So that side. I'm sure you can come closer for us to take a look at that aspect of the library as well and see. But even before we do that, there are still shelves, a number of books, Shipwreck, eyewitness books at this side. You also see Wins Against Progress. It's very visible that some parts of the shelf in itself are empty, this side, this part, and also some other parts that all need the support to ensure that the books are provided in these areas. So this is what is supposed to be the IT section. But interestingly, you can see clearly it is in need of computers to be used at this point. So the shelves are empty. It appears there's one and another at the other side, but both are not functional. She has manned the library for years. Her worry is more than just ensuring that children read silently.
Being a children's librarian is not an easy task. As a matter of fact, even though the children are in school, yet when you teach them, you will see that they are far below. For instance, some will come without even knowing how to write their names. Meanwhile, when you ask of their class, they will tell you they are in class 2, others are in class 3. So such a case, we find it very tough teaching them. We don't just look after them, we also teach them as well. And then we organize programs for them. So it's not an easy task being a librarian because we add the teaching aspect to it. They usually come on vacation. During the school period, they come in the afternoon, and the number is not much. Sometimes averagely 30 a day. But during vacations, they come in their numbers around 60, 70 a day.
So I've joined some children here. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them actually are busily reading to speak to them. What's your name?
Aisha Ahmed.
Aisha, how often do you come to the library?
Sometimes when it's break, I come here.
Well, your school is close by?
My school is near a post office.
Okay, and how do you find the library?
Maybe if I'm coming, if I'm going home, I pass here.
Okay, so I'm asking, do you enjoy being in the library and reading?
Yes, I enjoy it.
What makes it fun for you?
The stories are more, and if you read it, sometimes if you read it, you get advice, and so.
How about the books in the library? Are there points where you come and you're looking for some books that you don't seem to find?
No.
You always get the books you need?
Yeah.
Okay, how about you? What's your name?
Ahmed Lamti.
Is the situation the same for you? Do you enjoy being in the library, reading all these books? I see you are reading something about Tales from the Jungle book. The Jungle book is a book I've read before. That was like many, many years ago. Do you enjoy reading this book?
Yes. My friends said they were coming, so I followed them.
And since then you've been doing that?
Yeah.
How about you? What's your name first?
Utara Sweet One. Very enjoyable.
So there are other 2 very young ones. They are busily reading. Okay, so this one's own is a book. It says, Make It I'm the Mother. A very interesting one. They're colorful books all being read here at the library. If you want to come, ring the bell. Wow. So very interesting books here, all made for the children here at the library. Empty seats around, you can see them. There are seats that are supposed to be filled, but it appears still more needs to be done to improve upon the reading culture.
Well, that library is one that I visited many years ago, more like decades ago. While educationists are calling for the establishment of more reading clubs in the first and second cycle institutions to encourage children develop bigger interest in reading. They say the culture of reading has eluded Ghanaian youth, and they now invest their time and energy in unprofitable ventures. The clubs, according to the president of the Ghana Readers Club, will motivate children to take to reading, as interesting programs will be attached. He was speaking at the launch of a week's reading clinic and seminar held in Accra. Na Ayoko Ejay's report.
Students from both first and second cycle institutions massively patronized the week-long reading program aimed at promoting the culture of reading among the youth. Speaking on the issue, importance of establishing libraries and reading clubs in the deprived communities in Ghana, spokesperson of the National Chief Imam, Sheikh Arimaya Shaibu, says the importance of reading cannot be overlooked as it promotes development. He says the interest in reading among the youth in deprived communities can be created and renewed through motivation.
The Readers Club will help enhance opportunity of academic success among children of deprived communities. The more the pupils excel, the greater the chances of developing our human resource capacity, even in our communities for development. Sometimes when we get them excelling, they become role models. They inspire their own people. When they have been able to succeed in life, when they come back to their own community and they are seen, then the rest also get inspired. So it's a way of even transforming society, if you like. That is the way to do it. A community of well-informed and well-exposed individuals through reading is better empowered to pursue progress and development.
In her address, Acting Executive Director of the Ghana Library Authority, Rebecca Odia Akiti, attributed lack of interest in reading to deficiencies like non-existence of libraries.
There is no clear-cut policy framework on reading. Attempts were made some time ago to introduce the national local language policy for the teaching of preschool to primary 3 children. But there is a need to revisit this issue. We need a national reading policy that will establish standards regarding our lingua franca, the content, coordination objectives, qualifications of reading instructors or guides, research and development to the teaching and learning of reading, and the mechanics for the monitoring, assessment, and impact of the reading activities.
Member of Parliament for Clote College, Zaneto Algerman Rollins, also expressed worry over the use of slang and the shortening of words.
Unfortunately, we find ourselves in a generation that has become so hooked onto the quick way of communicating that now when you're interacting with people on WhatsApp, they can't even say good morning. Now it's GM. And I find myself asking, what's GM or RYT? And I'm thinking, what is that? Why can't we just use the normal words when we're interacting? Have we gotten to the point where we're rushing to interact so much that we can't even spell out the words? It's all well and good when we know how to spell the words. But the danger that we face now is we have a generation that doesn't know how to spell properly because they spend all their time interacting in short form and slang. It's not cool. It seems like it is, but it actually isn't. Because I can assure you, these foundation stages are so important. When you have to write a CV, when you have to go for an interview, and you cannot convey your thoughts in a concise manner, if you can't write your application in proper wording, with proper grammar, with proper spelling, you immediately put yourself on the list of not to be considered first.
The group used the occasion to launch its 5-year plan with a 30-page document aimed at promoting and establishing various reading clubs across the country.
The Kakum National Park in Cape Coast is undoubtedly one of the best in the country, a thick rainforest with a lot to make visitors experience nature. But that glory will always be overshadowed by the poor stretch of road leading to the facility. Armed with his iPhone, Joy News' features editor Ed Fifi Kumsing joined a number of local tourists on a visit to Kakum for the first time in our report.
Rich, green vegetation, a lot of flora and fauna in a national park. The canopy walkway built into the tree trunks, about 130 feet high, is all you need to make your day at Kakum. There are 10 of these hanging bridges. A walk on any of these requires a lot of courage and perseverance. Yeah. It's always jubilation when you're able to finish this walk in the sky. Okay.
Can I say it here?
Yeah,
I think that's
okay.
In your face. Right, Junior?
Awesome. Okay, but weren't you scared walking on this
high.
I was a little scared, but then
We survived.
I got motivated.
Okay.
You motivated me. And you motivated me at the same time.
So, how was the experience for you?
Nice.
Nice?
Yeah, it was really great.
Okay.
To see a rainforest.
Okay.
Because I've never seen a rainforest before.
My name is Kate. The canopy walk was good. It was really good. I was scared initially, but I did it. I did the long route, and that was wonderful.
But there's an ugly side. It's the ugly truth. The road leading to Kakum is perhaps one of the worst stretches leading to any tourist site in Ghana. A good portion of the 69-kilometer road is in bad shape, riddled with potholes and gullies. A drive on it is not at all exciting.
Tell me about the road leading to this place.
Terrible. I wanted to go back, actually. I wasn't expecting it to be that bad. I think the government should do something about it because this is a tourist site, so they really should do something about it.
Was the road good for you?
Oh yeah, the road was, it was a nice experience here to drive on this road with no asphalt. Yeah.
And this is a big worry. The park receives over 300,000 visitors annually, with revenue collection sometimes close to 400 million Ghana cedis. Today, revenue collection has begun declining as a result of the situation. This media report is not the first to be done about this awful spectacle, and it may never be the last. Fifi Kumsin, Kakum National Park, Cape Coast.